Coming up on City Beat, we will show you how a local organization is helping many of our veterans find not just jobs, but new careers as they leave their military lives behind and head out into what can be an intimidating civilian world, particularly for those who have been in the military for many years. Plus, city leaders gather with survivors of the October 1st shooting to honor our lost loved ones with a beautiful butterfly release. And our first responders can be of little help to us in emergencies if they can't get to us safely. We'll show you the hair-raising training our Las Vegas fire and rescue recruits must go through to learn defensive driving. Hi, everybody, and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host, Nancy Byrne, and we are coming to you from Las Vegas City Council chambers in our beautiful City Hall, where on April 18th, Councilman-elect Cedric Creer will be sworn into office and become Councilman Creer. We will talk to him on the next City Beat, hear a little bit about his background and his vision for Ward 5 and our city. But you know, another councilman that's fairly new that you see here regularly in our City Council chambers is Councilman Steve Soroka. He may be fairly new to the position, but he's very entrenched in our community. In fact, he recently told me about an organization here in Southern Nevada that's very near and dear to his heart. It's called Hiring Our Heroes. It's a U.S. Chamber of Commerce program that takes retired military and helps them not only find a job, but find a new career. These slot machine sounds are like music to the ears of Thomas Beatty, not because he loves to gamble, but because when he made the decision in 2016 to retire after decades in the military, his experience there.
28 years with the United States Air Force, traveled 9 different duty stations, Germany, Korea, Italy, and all over the United States.
Was hard to sell to employers here in the civilian world. That is, until the Hiring Our Heroes program set up classes at Nellis Air Force Base and helped him find his way here to global gaming company Aristocrat Technologies.
Part of the first class, I applied and got accepted. Upon that, I had help with resume writing, how to do interviews, and how to sell myself to employers here in the local community. And I was lucky enough to actually get hired on with Pete Pez on an internship.
That internship turned into a permanent position.
He assists us on technology services side in streamlining our quality processes and ensuring we put out a quality product to our customers.
Peter Papez says the Hiring Our Heroes program stresses to potential employers that veterans have a lot to offer the civilian world. And while many think their skills lie only in security or law enforcement, their military experience often prepares them for so much more.
I think that you've got a lot of seasoned professionals that have spent several years in the military that can qualify for manager or director type jobs, especially at the enlisted level. Many of these people have commanded several hundred folks or done admin on several hundred folks and done huge projects, such as Tom was managing runway implementation at the enlisted level, at the highest level of enlistment.
We run small cities. You know, when you take 7 square miles of a military infrastructure, you put a runway on it and you put all the support agencies, facilities, medical hospitals, dining facilities, which are eateries, restaurants, stores. You have to have the people to maintain that. Everything from electrical to HVAC infrastructure to large-scale construction to flying the airplanes, the mechanics, the personnelist, the cooks. We have everything to offer that the private sector needs.
You might think looking for a new career couldn't possibly intimidate a 28-year Air Force veteran. Thomas says, think again.
I was absolutely terrified. You know, in the military, they'll sit there and ask us to deploy, and I've been on many convoys throughout Iraq and tons of helicopter rides across Afghanistan and Iraq and throughout the UAE, and I would do that every day before I would sit here and try to job hunt in the civilian sector because we don't understand it.
But he said Hiring Our Heroes teaches veterans like him to communicate through resumes and interviews the ways military experience translates beautifully into the outside world.
What is the amount that it says reaching damage calculation?
No one knows this more than our own Las Vegas City Councilman, Steve Soroka.
I'm a retired Air Force colonel out of the United States Air Force. My last assignment was at Nellis Air Force Base, just up the street from here. And after completing 30 years of flying fighters, as a strategist, as a commander in the United States Air Force, I felt I had a lot of skills and experience to bring forward into our local community.
He found the transition into the civilian world to be part exciting and part scary, and he was fortunate to already have a job lined up. Most retiring vets do not. So he's not only a big fan of hiring our heroes, but when he's not here at City Hall serving our residents, he's an active part of the organization. He assists with quarterly events where potential employers get to meet up with retiring veterans from Nellis Air Force Base.
And right now I'm helping with that because I understand a little bit about the military and a little bit about the non-military community, and I translate those veteran skills into civilian speak. And while I'm speaking, the employers are out in the audience saying, hey, I think I like what that talent, that skill set that individual has. And as that warrior steps off the stage, it gives an employer the immediate opportunity to go up and start chatting with that veteran. 3 months ago, we did this, and at the end of the evening, all of the veterans were matched with an employer, and all the employers were very happy with the veterans they got on their rolls that night.
He wants more employers to take notice. His research and experience have shown the men and women who come out of the military come out with more than just practical skills. They come out with something extra.
So we're actually taking into the military people from the top 20% of our community, making them better in the military through basic training, education, and experience, and then letting those amazing people come back to our community. So they left as one of our best, and they're coming back even better. So I urge employers to consider that as they're looking for amazing people to not be just an employee, but their best employee.
I would say it's a great opportunity of a segment you may be missing, and bringing those people in and interviewing them and seeing what type of candidates you get. It was well worth it for us. It opened the doors for other candidates. We have now hired some other people in certain parts of our organization through the Hiring for Heroes program, and I'm glad that we did find it overall.
I would like to tell any employer out there that's looking to hire a military member that we're very disciplined. We're very dedicated to the core. We're going to give 100% to not only the company that's taking care of us, but to the community that's out here.
Thomas says there are many reasons his new career here at Aristocrat is so important, but the three most important reasons can be seen watching over him here every day at his desk.
I will tell you that when I got that job offer, it was the greatest relief to not only myself, but my wife and my kids. You know, my daughter wanted to go to college here locally, which she is up at the University of Nevada in Reno, and my son wanted to stay here and finish high school. So having that job offer, having that security, and being able to stay here locally has been a blessing.
Here's a little added incentive for employers thinking of hiring our heroes. If you do so, you bring them on as an intern for the first 3 months, which means the business does not pay them. The military pays them. It's only when you bring them on as a full-time employee, which most businesses decide to do, that you start paying them as an employee. Now, there's another one of those job fairs planned for July. They're still working out the details, but if you would like more information, go to hiringourheroes.org. Right now, they are only at Nellis Air Force Base, but they are considering expanding. Well, you know, you don't have to be in the military to be considered a hero. We certainly saw our share of heroes after October 1st of last year. Some of those heroes got together and built our community healing garden. On April 8th, a very special ceremony was held thanks to Nathan Adelson Hospice, city leaders, and even members of our country music world.
The sadness and the pain of October 1st is ever present and eternal, I know, for all of us. We join together today and every day for gratitude for their lives and for sparing others who live on daily, some still in great pain and for many years to come, I'm sure.
For this, our 15th year, the ACM Awards have called your city our home away from home. On behalf of the entire country music community, our hearts pour out to all of the families who have been affected.
So thank you, Hospice, for sharing with us and giving this beautiful, ethereal opportunity to have another gesture of love and affection.
Thank you, Eric Sorensen, for that story. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, when you think of our first responders, you may think of them putting out fires, protecting homes and businesses. Well, they can't do that until they arrive there. We'll take you to the intense training that helps them arrive on scenes safely. Congratulations to our City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month, Leanne Byrne. Leanne is a Buyer 1 in our Purchasing and Contracts Division. A core function of that division is to initiate and manage purchase orders, helping city departments plan and control their program budgets. Leanne has worked with great focus to review, analyze, and close aged purchase order line items and return needed funds back to the city departments. Through her meticulous judgment call, she has determined which ones can be closed so that the money can be returned to the city. As an example of the work she does, in the last 3 months, Leanne has closed 787 orders and has returned more than $750,000 back to the city. Leanne deserves recognition because she has made a difference to further the city's strategic priority of responsible fiscal stewardship and ensuring that our taxpayers are getting the best bang for their buck. For her hard work making sure our money works hard for all of us, we say congratulations to Leanne Byrne, City of Las Vegas Employee of the Month. Welcome back to City Beat from the Las Vegas City Council chambers. We currently have a group of recruits going through the Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Academy. Part of their extensive training includes helping them arrive on emergency scenes safely. Sue Levitt has that story.
Okay, so you guys have had 2 days of training so far. We started out in the cars, got into the rescues. Today's your last day, so we're going to spend most of the time in the rescue because that's what you're going to be driving once you get on the floor and off probation.
The recruits are taking a break from their regular physical training today to get behind the wheel and practice some evasive driving skills.
We're going to be doing this every day. Every day we come on shift, we're going to be driving. And, you know, we got into this business, you know, to help people, and the last thing we want to do is cause more harm when we're going on calls.
Kelby Lytle hopes to join Las Vegas Fire and Rescue when he finishes the academy. He and the other recruits start off their training driving in the regular cars, then eventually test their skills in the big rigs.
It's a lot bigger, which when you're trying to stop, it complicates that a little bit with your turning and everything. Definitely hit a lot more cones when you're in the rescue.
Now that you've seen what the cars look like going through the courses, we're going to get inside the car so you can get a feel for what it's really like when they make those sharp turns.
While these courses may look somewhat easy to maneuver, it's much different once you're behind the wheel.
Chuck is about ready to take us through the serpentine course, which has a lot of turns. So we've got our seatbelts on and we're ready to go.
So we're going to go through the serpentine. This is to teach them how to go around a fixed object. Right now we're only doing 22 miles an hour. And you can see just at 22 miles an hour how that throws you around in the car.
After the recruits master the serpentine course, they move on to the evasive maneuver exercise. This course has 3 lanes and gives the recruits practice having to react quickly in case a car stops in front of them or they need to go around an accident.
So we're coming down the center lane, but we've got cones there like there's an accident, and then we're going to go right around it or left around it. On this evasive maneuver, we don't let them use their brakes at all. They're supposed to just keep the same constant speed and go all the way through the obstacle.
The final obstacle is called controlled braking. The recruits are taught to go around an object, brake, and come to a complete stop so they can get out and assist.
I feel a lot better actually getting to go through the cones and just those quick little movements. You never done that before, so you don't know what your vehicle is going to be able to handle. I had no idea what these vehicles could handle, and now I have somewhat of an idea of what we could do. So I feel a lot more confident actually being able to drive out there.
You just killed that cone. What the heck did you do?
Oh, I got totally kind of thrown off doing
Want to go back and get it?
Yeah.
And confidence is key when getting behind the wheel of these big rigs. After today's training, all of the recruits will be certified and ready to operate city emergency vehicles. For City Beat, I'm Sue Levitt.
Thank you, Sue Levitt, for that story. You know, there are times you want to get through a project in a timely but quality manner, and it really is helpful when volunteers are there to help with the project. That's the idea behind beautifying our community schools here in Las Vegas. We call them Reinvent Schools. We have 9 of them. On April 3rd, education and city leaders got together to thank some of the volunteers who are helping beautify these schools with murals and art. They're the volunteers of AmeriCorps. What a difference a little paint can make to schools that are beginning to show a little wear and tear from the years. This huge map of the United States was outlined by artist Justin Lepper and filled in with color by these tireless volunteers from the Nevada Statewide Coalition Partnership AmeriCorps. The artist is no stranger to creating murals for the city. It's become a big part of his life.
I was picked up by the Reinvent program, and what we decided to do was 9 murals at Red Rock Elementary, and today we ended up finishing with the United States of America mural. It's going to be used as an educational tool for the students to come out and pick states, state capitals, and things of that nature.
He's done many here at Red Rock Elementary School as well as the other 8 Reinvent schools. He comes up with the ideas and then runs them by the students and faculty of the schools.
I take all that input and then I mock out about 5 to 10 drawings about what we would like to see on the walls, and then the ladies at the Reinvent program or the principal will give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
So on this fine April morning, school members and city leaders dedicated to the enrichment of our children's lives took time to thank Justin and the many volunteers who make this art come to life and make our Reinvent schools the success they are.
It was a year ago that we thought about applying for an AmeriCorps grant. And at that time, we had just started our community schools. We had 1 year under our belt, and we realized that in order to really make the type of difference that we wanted to in the lives of children, we would need more hands. And I'm so pleased to say that a year later, because of you, we have many hands helping to make this work possible.
Mayor Carolyn Goodman sang the praises of our local AmeriCorps volunteers, saying they are not only greatly responsible for beautifying our schools with art, but they also step up as tutors and mentors to the tune of some 20,000 hours of working with our Reinvent school children.
In Nevada, this past year, 327 AmeriCorps state members helped in tutoring and mentoring and working with students and families in 78 different places and in 11 different Nevada counties.
The tutors and volunteers seem to just take the work in stride and, in fact, look at it more as fun than work, and certainly rewarding.
I like doing what I do. I love working with the kids, so it's fun.
But this day was a day to let them know their work has not and will not go unnoticed.
I never thought I would pull so much gratitude from this and actually see so many people coming together to work for something. We've had upwards of 30 to 35 volunteers working to beautify these schools. And one of my goals is to actually do this in as many schools as we can over the next 10 years, 15 years, because the kids are the future and our community needs more art.
Our mayor made sure she had a hand in completing at least this piece of art by making sure everyone knows exactly where our giving city is located on the map.
Okay, I've been given permission by Justin to step on California.
Well, as we said, that ceremony was held at Red Rock Elementary School, but we actually have 8 other Reinvent schools. And a lot of people are asking, what is a Reinvent school? Well, it's modeled after a national concept called community schools. It's where the children are not only taken care of in the classroom, but their families and the community surrounding that school are taken care of, whether that be through basic medical screenings, food, clothing, or counseling. Well, it's time for another break, and when we come back, you know, sometimes something old can become something new and something better. That's the idea behind this old, new apartment complex. Stay with us.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew she was special.
Our family is no less than any other family.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Welcome back to City Beat from the Las Vegas City Council chambers. You know, a lot of decisions are made right here when it comes to our changing city, especially in downtown, whether that be new businesses, restaurants, or entertainment establishments. But city leaders are always very cognizant of the fact that we don't want people to just work and play downtown. We want them to live here. That's why there was a very special ceremony surrounding the reopening of a new and very affordable apartment complex. Apartment living became just a little more appealing for downtown residents who are in need of affordable housing. Welcome to Baltimore Gardens and Cleveland Gardens Apartments, a completely renovated complex ready to house hundreds of residents.
Together with our partner Boulevard Capital, we've been able to successfully acquire, renovate, and preserve this 201 units here that are focused on serving low-income residents.
At this ribbon-cutting ceremony, city leaders, developers, and residents got together to celebrate the fact that low income doesn't have to look low income. And these apartments fit a big need in our downtown area. This is an area that used to be a nice, clean family neighborhood and is heading back in that direction again. Councilman Bob Coffin grew up in our downtown and remembers this neighborhood well.
Well, it was a red-hot place to live in the 60s. And then now it's here. And now it's going to become another red-hot place to live, thanks to this joint effort of federal and state and local and alphabetical agencies that I cannot even begin to parse.
The modest but pretty units have been refurbished with new kitchens, flooring, and a beautiful courtyard, complete with a playground and new landscaping. Councilman Coffin says this is exactly what we need as we try to attract people of all walks of life to live in our great downtown. After a presentation of a proclamation,
for investing here in what we call the Baltimore and Cleveland Gardens Apartments in the heart of downtown. We truly appreciate that investment. Thank you very much.
Kathy Thomas Gibson from the city's Community Services Department told the residents this little community is dedicated to making them feel safe and welcome in a beautiful setting.
You are the core of why we do what we do. It's so important that when we partner, it's not just a partnership between government and developers, but it's a partnership with the whole community. So to have you here to celebrate this is the most important thing. You are the guests of honor, and I'm so glad to see you here.
With a party waiting to get started, the ribbon was cut. And neighbors gathered with neighbors to celebrate their community, born many years ago, but looking and feeling like a new start. That complex is located at Baltimore in Tam in downtown Las Vegas. You know, we talk a lot in the city of Las Vegas about being green and sustainability. Sometimes when people hear those terms, they think boring. But actually, there's an annual event that takes place in downtown Summerlin that shows that learning about sustainability can be interesting and fun. Here's more on what you can expect at the Green Fest 2018. If you ever thought learning about sustainability, the environment, and conservation had to be boring, head out to downtown Summerlin for Green Fest. This is last year's event where thousands of people enjoyed row after row of interactive and informative exhibits, live music, and more. Well, it's coming back to downtown Summerlin this year, and it's slated to be even bigger and better. And once again, the city of Las Vegas will be back with its own fun booth and giveaways.
The city has been involved in Earth Day activities since the early 1990s, over 25 years ago, starting with the old Earth Fair that used to be down at Sunset Park. Last year's event for Green Fest involved over 20,000 people. We do a lot of public outreach events throughout the year. Green Fest is by far our largest outreach.
John Salvi is an environmental compliance inspector for the City of Las Vegas Public Works Department, which means he inspects and enforces just about anything that has to do with keeping our water clean. But one aspect he really enjoys about his job is reaching out to the public.
We produce a lot of public information material, but nothing beats FaceTime with the general public. We're able to field questions, talk about difficult issues, address controversial issues, talk things about Lake Mead water quality, Las Vegas wash, what should go down your drain, what shouldn't go down your drain.
When he does reach out, there are several topics he finds the public is surprised to hear, like the fact that water that goes into our gutters doesn't go through the city's wastewater treatment plant.
It goes straight to Lake Mead with no treatment whatsoever, which is our primary source of drinking water. So it's important for us to be able to understand that what we're doing out in the gutter affects our water quality and affects our community. So things like washing your paintbrushes in the gutter, things like washing down pesticide into the gutter is a very bad thing to do because it affects our water quality. There's not a community in the country that does full treatment of stormwater. It's economically infeasible. For what you pay for a sewer bill, you'd probably be paying 10 times that to be able to treat stormwater.
Something else that surprises people is the grave damage that can occur when people pour grease down a drain.
We've had people that have actually taken deep frying grease and poured it in their toilets and clogged an entire sewer line. What happens is it goes into the sewer, it goes down about 100 feet if you're using really hot water, and then it gets into the sewer line, it coagulates, and we've seen a sewer line this big turn into a sewer line this big. And when that happens, it causes what we call sanitary sewer overflows. We can get fined for that as a city, not to mention we have raw sewage coming out of a manhole going into the gutter and going into Lake Mead.
He says that's why at festivals like Greenfest, these containers become very much in demand. It's one of the giveaways by the city that benefits residents and the city as a whole. The trailer they now take on the road for outreach events is in itself one big lesson in keeping our water clean. Here it is clearly illustrated what does and does not belong in your drain, toilet, or gutter. Old medications, grease, pool water, automotive fluids, those flushable wipes that are anything but flushable, and those little treats that Fido leaves behind. The city's booth is just one of many exhibits you can expect to enjoy at Greenfest once again this year. A walk through the festival will prove to be extremely informative and, yes, even fun. This year's Greenfest will be held once again at downtown Summerlin on April 21st from 9 to 5. If you stop by, make sure you stop by the City of Las Vegas booth to find out how we make sure our water and our air is safe here in Las Vegas. Well, that does it for another City Beat, but as we go to close, we're going to take you to the Spring Fling at Floyd Lamb Park at Tule Springs. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you for the next City Beat.